What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another playthrough of Chess of Blades. I will be playing for about 20 minutes today, as per usual. Thank you so much for joining me. I am the Planet Rocks. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell for notifications, and also please do like this video. You can also follow me on Twitch and on Twitter. You can also like and follow me on Facebook. So without further ado, let's begin. With a yawn, I fall back on the bed, stretching my arms out as I sink into the fluffy duvet. The early evening sun lazily gleams in through the window, just bright enough to make me feel comfortably warm. My eyes flutter closed, and in the blackness that follows, images from today and last night replay themselves. Blemish my father's name? Ha! I'll find this culprit, and I'll show Valora and Father that I can live in this cutthroat world as well as they can. And then I'll take a nice, long nap. So chilly. Where's the blanket? My eyes still closed, I fumble around for the covers hazily. Wait a moment. I'm not under any blankets. Where are my damn blankets? I abruptly force myself upright, glancing around in confusion. Outside my window, the sky is... Excuse me, guys. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Outside my window, the sky is dark. Bloody hell, I must have fallen asleep after I came back from the festival.
Shit.
Pushing off the bed, I hastily smooth my clothes and hair out, shaking my head to clear the residual drowsiness. I hope I'm not too late for that meeting. To be fair, they did say tonight without any indication of time, so they'd better still be there.
God bless my narcoleptic soul.
After making sure I look at least mostly presentable, I slip out into the corridor, close my door behind me with a soft click. It's almost eerily quiet, leading me to believe most everyone's already retired to their rooms. I've been so used to hearing the corridors filled with chatter streaming in from the main hall that the silence makes me a little uneasy. My footsteps echo back to me in an ominous rhythm, and I start to unthinkingly hold my breath as I walk along.
Someone's up late. Heading to a midnight meeting with your secret lover.
The voice of a girl passing by makes me nearly jump out of my skin. I can't even see where she is in the thick darkness, but the voice doesn't resemble anybody I know. She seems to be chewing on something, though, and it smells like one of those delicious cakes I had at the festival earlier.
I'm going to play with some mysterious man. You should be careful. Everyone has so many hidden secrets.
Yes, well, have a pleasant evening.
With a flustered bow to the unseen maiden, I turn and sprint in the opposite direction, clenching my teeth together. Probably just some drunk noble girl returning to her room, but being reminded of secrets makes my mood immediately darken. She's not wrong. Franz is probably keeping more secrets from me than I can count. Before long, I arrive at the grand staircase leading into the main hall. This place, too, is completely silent and pervaded by a thick darkness to the point where it's practically unrecognizable from its glowing beauty during the day. I know it's silly to be so put on edge by the different atmosphere, but I'm ruffled enough from this whole walk into a potential trap business that I think I'm allowed to be a bit of a scaredy cat.
Any ghosts listening, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Goosebumps break out on my skin as I descend the stairs and trot towards the side corridor Emily told me about earlier, glancing over my shoulder now and then at the various noises of the night. Let's just hope no one follows me down here. I'm not sure what would be worse, being shanked in the back, or being called out for acting like a boy without his teddy bear. Inside the dark hall, I wind my way past various rooms, all of them clearly more functional and less ornate than the guest chambers upstairs. I peek into a number of them to try and spot the portrait that was mentioned in the note, but I can't seem to find it. I huff to myself and anxiously comb through more and more of the seemingly endless rooms, losing my way for a good few minutes. A good sense of direction never was one of my strong suits. Couldn't they have at least drawn me a map on the back of this damn note?
Ah, is this the place?
At last, while walking past an open door, I notice a large, eye-catching painting inside the room. The pompous crown certainly gives it away, so this must be the one. Holding my breath, I tentatively step into the chamber, my eyes darting around to catch any trace of movement. It seems surprisingly empty, however, save for a plethora of crates and boxes.
Hello? Anyone else here for a late-night rendezvous?
When no reply immediately comes, my heart falls in my chest. Am I too late? Did I miss my chance to finally glean some information?
Oh, you're here.
I unconsciously yelp and jump around to face the source of the voice, which stems from a shadowy corner. My gaze falls on a slender girl sitting on the ground who pushes herself up to her feet as she watches me with a frown.
Celeste? You wrote this note?
Of course I did. Next time, though, could you not make me wait further, please? I fall asleep on the cold floor, you know.
As if her comment was expected to inspire some deep sympathy or guilt inside me, Celeste pouts, shivering theatrically.
Well, bring a blanket next time then, and be more specific with your cryptic notes.
I can't help but feel a little disappointed and annoyed. This girl, surely she can't have any real information about what's going on. We only met briefly, but she seemed a bit, well, airheaded.
How horrible you are. And here I was, trying to help you. I only met you once, but you made my heart flutter enough that I wanted to warn you.
Warn me? Warn me about what exactly? The upcoming fashion trends or latest hairstyles, perhaps?
Celeste sighs heavily, shaking her head. Then, after hesitating a moment, she steps a little closer, motioning me to lean down. I reluctantly comply, tilting my head to let her quietly speak into my ear.
I didn't tell you this before, but my father's an ambassador, you know. He knows lots about what's happening, especially because he's good friends with your Inquisitor.
I blink, my nose wrinkling a little at the mention of Linnaeus. More importantly, though, does that mean Celeste is aware of what happened yesterday?
My father survived several sabotage attempts from a cult called the Disciples of Ignatius, and he thinks they killed the Pravian ambassador to stop the alliance talks going on.
Alliance talks? Don't tell me there's been some sort of secret meeting going on behind all this.
Of course, Papa said the party was a ruse to get ambassadors and nobles from a few countries together to feel out a partnership. Through now, obviously. Matters do tend to do that.
Now that I think about it, what Celeste says makes sense. It's not a coincidence, then, that people with important positions like Linnaeus and Valora are here. Speaking of Valora, she must have known about the talks, not to mention the purpose of the whole party. I wonder what her role in all this is.
I'm still confused as to how you're involved, though. Do you just eavesdrop on your father's business all day?
Celeste gives me a hurt look, but then her expression turns a little serious.
Actually, I saw the murderers last night.
I stare at her intently, trying to see if she's playing around or obviously lying, but the girl seems completely honest.
I was walking out for a bit of fresh air after dinner, and suddenly I spotted two figures crouching in the bushes. I couldn't make out who they were, only that one was big and wearing something unusually bulky, and the other was much smaller. They didn't notice me, thankfully, because they were talking to each other. I saw you too, walking on the other side of the bushes. Didn't you hear them at all?
I can feel the blood draining from my face the little as Celeste recounts her story. Those people whispering. I did hear them right before I encountered Arden, didn't I?
But how'd you know they were murderers? Some shady whispers don't mean they're criminals.
Well, when I started suspecting that something was happening, I hid in the bushes myself. That was when the ambassador came outside. I must have been tricked by one of them because he was completely alone. He headed deeper into the gardens, past where you'd been standing. And when I looked back to the figures, they had disappeared. I had a bad feeling about it, so I went to tell one of the guards. And sure enough, they found the ambassador dead soon after.
An unsettled expression comes across Celeste's face as she lowers her gaze. Although something about her personality tells me she's probably familiar with such grisly things, considering her father's important position.
The murderers didn't see you then? Do you think you're safe?
I'm quite sure I am, but I know they noticed you, Rivian. They stopped whispering when you came close, and they watched you after your cute friend walked up. It's a good thing you found you, honestly. Either way, I think they suspect you saw them, or at least know about them. And one of the new friends I met here told me he accidentally involved you in things last night.
I swallow, feeling small beads of perspiration purl along my hairline. Franz's guest may have been right. Perhaps they're looking for me after all.
Your new friend, eh? Are you talking about that bratty, stammering boy, Alistair?
Don't talk about him like that. He's such a darling little thing. Although, he's keeping some kind of secret, I think. He got all nervous when I asked him some questions, and stammered something about protecting someone.
Well, that sounds familiar. That boy definitely has more information than I need, but I just have to find some way to get it out of him.
Anyway, I just wanted to tell you to be careful. If the disciples are behind this, they won't want to leave behind anyone who can know their identities. You could be in real danger.
Ah, that's just lovely. Well, Celeste, you best watch out for yourself too. You might have been spotted as well, and it seems like you saw much more than I did.
She lets out a little giggle, shaking her head confidently. I'm really starting to doubt whether she takes all this seriously enough. Life or death matters should not induce giggling.
I can take care of myself. Besides,
Get down!
When an urgent yell suddenly cuts through the air, I instinctively grab Celeste and pull her down to the floor. A split second later, a large crossbow bolt thunks into the wall just beside us. With my heart nearly exploding in my chest, my eyes shoot up to the doorway. There, a heavily armored figure stands with a crossbow pointed directly at us. Is that... No, it can't be. A guard? The guard grunts in disgust and throws the crossbow to one side, pulling out a blade from a scabbard at his side instead. His focus, however, doesn't seem to be on us anymore. Instead, he turns to the side, suddenly raising his sword defensively. A loud clang resounds throughout the air, and the guard staggers back into the room. The figure who follows after him with long strides is...
Franz!
Before I can even stop myself, I call out Franz's name anxiously. He approaches the guard with an aggressive stance, a piercingly focused look in his eyes. In one hand, Franz holds a long, elegant sword, while his other grips a dagger, the two blades' pointed edges gleaming with lethal sharpness. Celeste backs into a corner, staring at Franz with wide eyes. She looks like she recognizes him. Well, she would, wouldn't she? Silas said Franz was watching her at the party. Bah, this is no time to think about that. The guard, who's just as tall as Franz and maybe even a little broader, brings his sword down in a savage cut. But Franz darts back, moving surprisingly quickly. Then as the guard recovers, Franz dashes back, swiping at the man's exposed neck. Barely managing to block in time, the guard uses his bulky strength to savagely chop forward, only to be parried with a fast side swipe of Franz's dagger. It's clear that Franz is the quicker man, but he's got none of the guard's armor, and his blades won't pierce anywhere but weak spots.
I can dance all night, you know. Better give up while you can, or we'll bore our lovely audience.
They trade blows back and forth at increasing speed, the guard's movements resembling a field soldier, while Franz looks like a court-trained fencer, elegant and swift. Desperately looking around for a way to help, my eyes fall upon a heavy-looking candlestick lying nearby. I grab hold of it with both hands, hefting its sturdy weight, then focus my gaze on the guard's back.
Take this, you fat metal can!
With all my strength, I hurl the candlestick towards the armored man. It slams into his flank with an awful mix of a thud and a clang, sending him staggering off balance. Franz doesn't hesitate for a moment, dashing forward to plant his boot into the guard's knees. Sure enough, our attacker goes tumbling to the floor, landing head first against a heavy crate.
That's got to hurt a little.
I can't help but wince as the guard's head lolls to one side, the fall likely knocking him completely unconscious. After sheathing his two blades in the scabbard attached to his belt, Franz lowers down onto one knee, in front of the man's limp form, yanking his helmet off. The guard's revealed face resembles that of a mercenary more than anything, with a savage scar across one eye, a broken-looking nose, and lips permanently curled into a cruel expression.
Why did a guard attack us? Are we wanted criminals?
Celeste's trembling voice comes from where she's still huddled in the corner, biting her lip nervously. I'm a little shaken up too, although an unusual sense of exhilaration permeates me as much as anything else.
I'd wager that this is no guard. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing, using the armor to try and hide his identity. I'm sure glasses will love to have a little chat with him in the dungeons. I almost feel sorry for this poor fool.
I study the guard's shape curiously, my mind flitting to the words Celeste was telling me just minutes ago.
Celeste, could this man be one of the figures you saw last night in the bushes?
She blinks at my words, cautiously examining the unconscious man while stepping closer.
I think he's the same one. If he was wearing that armor, then that explains why he looks so bulky.
It seems he wanted to get rid of both of you at once. And he was afraid you were getting close to figuring things out.
I breathe a silent sigh of relief at knowing our attacker will be safely locked up, for now, yet a sense of uneasiness continues to tingle down my spine.
But Celeste saw two people together last night. There must still be another murderer out there. One clever enough to not get so easily caught like this bastard.
A grim silence follows my words, along with a foreboding cloud that weighs heavily in the air. Rather than feeling safe, I can't help but dread the idea that the second murderer is going to target us even more, now that we've captured their co-conspirator. After a few long, tense moments, Franz finally pulls himself back up to his feet, grabbing the guard beneath his arms.
Let's go leave this unpleasant fellow in Sir Four Eyes' tender care, shall we?
Hold on a moment. I want to know why you were spying on Ravine and me first.
Celeste, who appears to have regathered her composure somewhat, trains an accusing glare on Franz. He's my bodyguard. Clearing my throat, I offer Celeste a reassuring grin.
Actually, Franz here is my unofficial bodyguard. With all the unpleasant murder business going on, I thought it'd be best to have someone at my side.
Franz looks a little surprised by my response, shooting me a curious look. It doesn't take long, though, for his eyes to light up warmly. He nods in agreement, bowing a little to emphasize my statement.
It's as he says, my lady. I have to keep a close watch on him at all times so that he doesn't accidentally get his pretty head lopped off.
That may be true, but still, you look awfully familiar. I could have sworn I'd seen you somewhere else before.
As Celeste studies Franz suspiciously, I realize she doesn't fully recognize his identity. But if she's an ambassador's daughter and he's part of the Peruvian royal family, they probably encountered each other before at some diplomatic event.
I think you may be mistaken, miss. I'm merely a common chivalrous rogue, dedicated to rescuing such damsels in distress as you two.
Franz ignores my burning glare and just grins wolfishly instead. Although she still looks doubtful, Celeste huffs a little and shrugs her shoulders, adjusting her hair with one hand.
Well, I'll let you two deal with him. Papa's probably word sick about me, so I'd better get back to our family suite.
She pauses, glancing over towards me with her lips pursed slightly in concern.
Be careful, Vivian. I'm going to lay low until after the party's over, and you should probably do the same. And make sure not to trust just anyone.
Celeste shoots a look over towards Franz, a delicate frown on her pale features before she shakes her head and hurries towards the door. She disappears around the corner, and within a few seconds her lightly pattering footsteps fade into silence. Franz and I are left alone in the storage room, well save for the unconscious man snoring in Franz's grip.
Well, let's get back to the hall, shall we? Best get our sleeping beauty here safely locked away before he wakes up, after all.
You're right. Grab his other arm. We'll make quicker progress with the two of us hauling him along. Unless you'd rather just walk ahead of me and provide a nice view, of course.
I take hold of the so-called guard's arms, and together with Franz we drag his body into the hallway. He's heavy enough that I doubt I could lift him myself, but Franz seems completely unstrained. We bring him into the main hall, where Franz finds the nearest actual guard patrolling outside the window, calling him inside and explaining to him what happened. The guard, who seems a little shaken and embarrassed, confirms that the man is an imposter. He agrees to take the man to the holding cells and call Linnaeus to question him, apologizing profusely for not recognizing something funny about his false compatriot sooner. With our murderous cargo safely delivered, Franz and I leave the guard's company and head upstairs, a slightly uncomfortable silence hanging between us as we return to the upper halls. Alrighty guys, I think I'm going to call it right there. We'll see where the uncomfortable silence leads to next time. I am the Planet Rocks. Please do subscribe to my channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this video. You can also follow me on Twitch, you can follow me on Twitter, and you can like and follow me on Facebook. I am the Planet Rocks on every one of those sites as well. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week, guys.